Alright, so this is just a video tutorial to just go over how to basically uh, make a quick sculpt using Dynamesh. Alright, so bust sculpt. I'm not going to go through the whole process. I'm just going to show you generally how to do it, and then you can kind of go from there. Definitely can't go all the way through, so I'm just going to do this real quick. So first things first, you're going to open up your screen. You may or may not have this light box on. Turn the light box on. Remember, that's kind of like the file previewer. I'm going to go to Tool, and this is just a bunch of different options. I'm just going to select I'm going to double click on the polysphere so it loads up into my tools over here, and then I'm going to click, and I'm just going to hold Shift just so it snaps as well. And I'm going to drop it in there. Okay, so this is the sphere. I can go ahead and turn Lightbox back off. Alright, so one thing that'll probably, right off the bat, if you remember, this is actually going to be a 2.5D. So if I try to draw, it's just going to keep making more of these. Alright, if that happens, just hit Control N. That will clear out the things there. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of pull this out. And then in order to actually activate this as a 3D model, I actually got to hit Edit up here, or T. And now, when I click on the side, it will rotate it. Okay, so if I hit Polyframe, you can see. Alright. Yay. Alright, another thing that kind of helps is I'm going to go ahead and click on Floor, just so I can kind of see. You can see I'm actually below it, and it's hard to tell. As you're rotating, you'll notice that it kind of gets off kilter and stuff. Just use Shift to snap to the different views. So get kind of close to what you want, then hold Shift. So you can see I kind of got pretty sideways here. Okay. There we go. Shift. Alright. So I want Z forward. That's the blue line. The red line should be to your left. Okay. So this is the front of the figure. While we're at it, what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn on Symmetry. It's either the X button. You just tap X and it turns on X Symmetry. Or if you just go to Transform, activate Symmetry. Okay. And X is the default. That way, when I sculpt on one side, it will happen on the other. All right. Just remember, Control Z or Command Z is undo. Control Shift Z or Command Shift Z will be redo. And it has so many steps. It only goes so far back. You obviously can adjust that, but by default, that's what it's going to do. So first things first, what I'm going to do whenever you model anything is just I'm going to go to the side of this figure on this side of it. All right. By holding Shift, it'll snap. And I'm going to hold Alt and click and drag. That's what makes this pan. Okay. If I just click on the surface, it's going to do rotate. And I'm going to turn perspective off. Okay. So this way it's completely an orthographic view. Now if I hold Alt and then let go of Alt as I'm clicking, I can actually zoom in and out. All right. So I'm going to go to the Move tool in order to bend this around. Now I can do it a couple different ways. I can hit B for brush, and then M, which is move, and then it's V for the thing, for the move tool, or I can just go in here and grab move, whatever whatever works for you. All right, so I'm just going to use the move here, and I am going to change my brush size by spacing or hitting the space bar, and then I can do the brush size, I can do the focal shift, the intensity. So I just need to make the size bigger. If you also want, you can just hit S, which I actually kind of like more, but I'm using a tablet, so it's easier just to keep everything on space bar. Or actually, I'm going to use my wheelie thing. Okay, so I just need to make the general head shape. Okay, so it's that kind of shape that you would typically kind of see. Something like this. Alright, yay, it's super exciting. I'm going to go to the front here. I'm going to hold Shift so I snap. And I'll just make this a little bit smaller, just so that I get a little more jaw here. Alright, and that looks pretty good. Alright, Shift like that. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to do, just because if you were to look at this, if I hit Shift F or I hit this, it'll show me the polyframe. Now right now the stretching's not too bad and it will generally work. Actually, in fact, we'll leave that alone for now. So let's start sculpting out some more of the features and things, okay? Typically what I like to do, just to keep things gestural and loose, we're going to use the clay tubes brush, okay? So it's just, oops, Control Z. Okay, hang on a second. Let go. Alright, I don't know what happened there, but so let's go back to here. I'm gonna turn on perspective so I can see easier. Alright, let's go like this, then alright, okay. So I put perspective on. You can just hit P, or you can hit this up here. Oh yeah, so the clay tubes brush. So you have to hit B, then C, and then whatever. I'll just do it this way. So I want the clay tubes. So it's alphabetical, which is kind of nice. Where are you, clay tubes? I'm bad with my alphabets. Here we go, clay tubes. All right, so I'm just going to take this down a bunch, and I'm just going to start building up some forms here. So, all right. Make the ramus of the jaw, all right, to the mental protuberance. Obviously, there's a midsection here where the nose would be. All right, so put on orthographic. Now the eyes we rate roughly where the brow is. So to go inwards, I just hold Alt, and that will allow me to go in. I'm just gonna make my brush a little bit smaller. All right, so I can push in as opposed to pulling out. Okay. Or spacebar. I'm gonna do the intensity a little bit more. Alt, cut in, yay. Okay, zygomatic arch. Okay, nasolabial folds. All right, something like that. I'm gonna do Alt to kind of cut in here. All right, something like that. Make this a little bit bigger here. Right where the temporal is here, there usually is a kind of a ridge. And you'll notice that there's a nice little shape that gets kind of formed here from the eye to the zygomatic arch to the ramus. Okay, and then right here roughly is right where the ear would be, which is right about halfway. Okay. All right, so gained a lot of thickness there. So we're gonna back this up a little bit, and I'm just gonna go ahead and use my move tool. So B, M, and V. Oops, keep doing that. Okay, apparently when I did B, M, and V, I'm just going to do it this way because you can see it anyway. Move. All right, so I just got to, you can see it got a little wide there, so I'm just going to hold space bar, make my draw size larger, even larger than that, and I'm just going to kind of pull this in. Now, I can actually go from the side here, and if I hold Alt, it'll either pull towards me or away. Okay, so I'm just going to push away a little bit to make that go in, push that in a little bit more. It's just starting to get a little carried away. He/she was just a bit large. All right, we'll pull this out a little. Okay, so, all right, that's fine. All right, back to my clay tube. So B, C, and then was it T? Yeah, T. Okay, make this smaller. All right. All right. So you're gonna notice that after a while, obviously, it's gonna get to be. It's not gonna like, especially when I get the nose here. It's going to start to get kind of not working that well. So we need to convert our mesh to basically a dynamesh. So all you do is you go down to geometry, because that's all the things that are in regards to geometry. I'm going to go to geometry, and I'm going to go down here, and I am going to, so right on the, okay, when I go to do it, watch what happens. It's going to say blah, 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 blah. Basically saying that this is subdivided to a level 3, which we haven't really covered that, but do I want to do this? I'm saying no. I'm going to go up here, and where are you? Oh, maybe I did. Oh, whatever. All right, seemed to have worked. I thought it would. All right. Anyway, so there's my thing. Now if I hit Shift F, you'll see that my wireframe, it's much denser because it's using the 128. All right. But that also means now, like, I have the geometry I should need in order to make this work. So let's do intensity up a little bit more. All right, like so. All right, so get some lips going on here. All right. Okay. Let's I'm just gonna show you how to do the ears real quick, like we did in class, just so you get an idea. So I'm just gonna kind of get a little bit more here. All right. So basically, what's gonna happen is you're going to create a sort of shape that goes in and around. Now you can see it's kind of stuck to the head. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use the mask. So if I just hold Control, and click, I can paint and mask. And basically this just freezes these areas here, okay? So I'm just going to kind of paint it. Got a little bit bigger. Make sure I got, oops, thought I had control. Okay, there we go. All right. All right, just so I don't accidentally move. Now I'm going to switch back to the move tool. So B, M, and V. And I am just going to grab and move this ear here. So I'll make this a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to pull back and over like so. So you can kind of see how that's actually pretty useful there. Use shift because it's starting to get kind of, oops, undo. There we go. It's actually pretty useful there to get this into spot here. Alright, come on. Alright, okay. And then to clear out the, if I want to invert my selection, I can just hold Control and tap, and that will invert. So you can kind of see it got kind of wonky back here. So I'm just gonna hold Shift to smooth a little bit, just to smooth that out. And then to clear the mask, I just do Control, click and drag, and that will clear the mask. Okay. Now I can actually redo my Dynamesh too, because if you were to look, you see it's starting to get a little stretch there, especially in the back, right? So while I still have Dynamesh activated, all I gotta do is the same thing as clearing a selection. Just click and drag, and it will rebuild the mesh. Okay. So let's back off. Let's see how much time I'm running on here. Okay, just wanted to check the time. Okay, so let's imagine I did a good job and I did a bunch of things and it looked really good. One of the things I like to do just to kind of help with everything is actually just make things a little more rigid. It gives it more form. So it might get cut off here, but where are you? Flatten, maybe we'll try use flatten. Yeah, flatten will do. So I'll just kind of flatten things to just give it a stronger, planar feel. It'll actually look considerably better, and it gives it more form. And you can really start to see the planes of the face. So, like so. Okay. All right. To me, it just helps really try to bring, you know, a little more strength to the overall form. All right. If you ever like get kind of like, oh, it's gone, just hit F and it will frame. Okay. And then from here, what I would do, as I kept going along, I don't have a perspective. Hold Shift to kind of snap. What I would do is, you know, soften this up. Hold Shift a little bit. After I just did the planar thing, right, over kind of the whole thing here. And then start to sculpt in. And I would just maybe use the standard brush, so B, S, T, I think. And then I would start to cut this in a little and start building up the various forms and stuff, more of what I was looking for, okay? Kind of a thing. And then as I go, these eyes are way too far apart. As I go, I will just like I need more detail for something, such as this here. What I'll do is try to build out the bigger forms first. Do not go into detail too early. But I will just up my Dynamesh here to something higher. Try to keep it as low as possible for as long as possible, and then do the Control and drag, and that'll give me even more resolution. So when there wasn't enough to sculpt before, I can do that. Now, if I need to do tight little lines, I can actually just use these alphas here, and I'm just going to use Alt, and I am going to, oops, you see it's on dots, so I'm going to switch this to freehand. I can kind of, well, I might need to do some other stuff with that. But I can start to, you know, do more detailed stuff, such as these little dots that look horrible. Yeah, so just keep upping this resolution, keep rebuilding it as you're going, but make sure you get a better form first. Like I would not have done it this early, I just wanted to show you. I would get the whole form better, all right? Good luck.